This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. A gas bottle explosion has developed into a fire at Banjo's Bakery in Rosny this morning. Customers and shoppers were forced to evacuate as the flames threatened to spread. A gas delivery driver suffered minor burns, but no one else was injured.
Smoke billows through the front door of the bakery as fire crews work to contain a blazing gas bottle inside. People from surrounding businesses fleeing as the emergency unfolded.
We got an alert from Banjo's that someone had dropped a gas bottle in there and they were evacuating because a fire had come up.
The explosion occurred as gas cylinders were being changed over, with the delivery driver suffering minor burns to his face. It triggered a big contingent of firefighters to swarm on the scene, one of the priorities ensuring the gas bottles didn't get too hot.
Whilst it's actually free burning, it's not that dangerous. It's when the flame starts to impinge on the cylinder, and if we can't keep it cool, then it can become dangerous. With the streets blocked off, crowds gathered as emergency crews tried to save the store. The shop was on fire to some extent. When we got here, there was a quite thick black smoke inside the store. It was obviously evacuated. Our crews got in there, knocked the fire down.
There was gas bellowing out of the building, started to come into our building, and people started to say we've got to get out of here very quickly.
Even with the incident now contained, surrounding businesses and the bus mall remain closed off as emergency crews clear the scene of gas.
Our building cannot be occupied for at least another 2 hours, so I've told everyone to go shopping for a little while.
In a statement, Banjo says the store will be closed until the damage is assessed and rectified. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
The state opposition is accusing the government of withholding the final report by Energy Security Task Force out of fears it will affect the current gas contract dispute. Hydro Tasmania and the owners of the Tasmanian gas pipeline remain locked in negotiations as the date for possible arbitration looms.
It's been almost 18 months since the Basslink cable broke and almost a year since a task force was established to help safeguard the state's energy security. Now a month since the Energy Minister was handed its final report, the opposition says its release is urgent.
The question has to be asked whether or not this is because he's failed to resolve the crisis when it comes to gas contracts here in Tasmania for our large industrial users.
It's imminent. As a government, we'll not jump to the tune of the opposition, but do what's best for Tasmania.
The interim report suggested the gas supply contract should be finalised by March, but Hydro Tasmania and the owner of the Tasmania gas pipeline remain locked in negotiations, forcing some major industrials into short-term contracts.
Which will let them keep their doors open, etc. But I don't think any of them feel at the moment that that is a long-term solution.
We also know there'll be flow-on effects to smaller users of gas. We're talking about small businesses, residents that use gas in their homes.
A recent COAG meeting pushed forward the possibility for arbitration as early as next week, while there's fears prolonged uncertainty will drive investment away from the state.
The board of the company would be thinking pretty seriously about how it wanted to do business here and what it may or may not want to do in terms of reinvestment or future investment in these businesses.
It was in fact Tasmania that took a lead role in ensuring that we have a process in place if it is the case that contractual outcomes cannot be arrived at.
Hydro Tasmania says it's determined to come to a fair and reasonable arrangement. Tasmania Gas Pipeline was contacted for comment. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A controversial proposal by Spring Bay Seafoods for a marine farming shore facility and jetty at Triabunna has tonight been approved by the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council. The proposal forms part of TasSal's plan to farm in Oakhampton Bay. Rezoning the area from open airspace to light industrial has also been approved. Environmental groups say they will challenge the decision.
There is no way council can let this happen without causing a real threat to the survival of the southern right whales that have their babies in those waters.
And let's be clear, Environment Tasmania does not share support for Tasmania's salmon farming industry for sustainable growth that I think the broader community have.
This was the second time the development application went before council. It was also passed last year, but due to it not being advertised properly, had to be redebated. A 55-year-old St Leonard's man has been charged with arson a month after a Waverley home caught fire. Emergency services were called to the Tasman Highway property late in the afternoon of June 23. The blaze causing an estimated $120,000 damage. The man will appear in the Launceston Magistrates Court in September. A former Tasmanian Labor senator has been given yet another month before he needs to enter pleas to trafficking abalone charges. Shane Michael Murphy is accused of 4 offences, including unlawfully possessing more than 20 abalone and possessing them for commercial purposes without a licence. His wife, Katie Lou, is facing similar charges. The pair were expected to enter pleas today, but their defence lawyer requested an adjournment, saying he needs more time to look through recently acquired court documents. Mr Murphy and Ms Lou have been granted bail to next appear late in August. Businesses and homes in Campbelltown and surrounding areas were left in the dark this morning after a crane collided with a power pole. Police say it's lucky no one was seriously injured when the crash occurred on a busy stretch of the Midland Highway.
With windows smashed and equipment badly damaged, half a dozen workers helped to haul the crane onto a tow truck. The vehicle had swerved off the road shortly before 7 a.m, rolling into a power pole 5 kilometres north of Campbelltown.
There's nothing to indicate at this stage that speed or alcohol had any effect on the actual outcome of the accident.
The impact slashed power to 1,800 homes and businesses, bringing Campbelltown's usually bustling breakfast trade to a standstill.
There's no power anywhere, so you had people looking in and then kept driving.
Ironically, the crane was heading to Swansea to fix another power line. The driver was the company's most experienced.
Yeah, he's been with us for about 20 odd years now, so our longest serving employee. The crane's in good mechanical order. It's well maintained.
Luckily, the driver of the crane escaped with only minor injuries, but motorists endured lengthy delays while the scene was cleared. Traffic was banked up for more than 2 kilometres.
If there is anyone that actually saw the driving or the accident, please come forward.
Cranes Combined is also conducting an internal investigation. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
An investigation is underway after a tiger snake was allegedly advertised for sale in Tasmania on the internet. The Department of Primary Industries, Parks, Water and Environment received a report of the ad today, and the snake has since been seized. It's an offence to sell protected wildlife like snakes, and penalties include fines of up to almost $16,000. The department says it has no information to indicate a second snake is on the loose. Artists are being given more incentive to enter Tasmania's prestigious Glover Prize. Next year's winner will receive $50,000, a $10,000 increase from this year. The John Glover Society says the funding boost is about keeping the Glover in line with other art prizes and giving artists a little bit extra.
The Art Prize is all about the artists and giving them something to do every day. You and I get up and go to work, and every year hopefully we get an increase in our income.
More than 350 entries were received this year, organisers hoping for even more in 2018. Some breaking news for you now, and just moments ago, Tasmanian-born Ariane Titmus just missed out on a semi-final berth in the 200 metres freestyle at the FINA World Championships. Titmus finished her heat in 6th, and here are the final moments.
World record holder, challenged for the moment. Hosu coming hard, not quite in front yet, might time it perfectly. Well done though, Pellegrini hung on. Pellegrini first, Hosu second, Bonnet third, and Titmus pushed hard to finish in 6th place.
It's good to be up there, race the fast guys, and it tries to push you a bit more. I gave it everything. That's my fastest heat swim for 200, so I'm pretty happy.
She will next compete on Friday in the women's 800 metres. Parts of Tasmania are being transformed into a film set, with production underway for a popular television show. The state government is providing hundreds of thousands of dollars to help make the program and support our burgeoning screen industry.
Near the Huon Valley, the normally quiet town of Longley is a hive of activity. It's been taken over by dozens of cast and crew filming the second season of Rosehaven.
So today we've been shooting scenes for the Rosehaven Hops Festival, the big fair in Rosehaven. I think a lot of people will find it a very familiar experience.
The show follows a man's return to Tasmania. He's played by local comedian Luke McGregor. His somewhat hopeless friend unexpectedly joins him for the ride.
We just wanted to have more fun this time, I think. Like we spent so much time last season just trying to make the characters real, and now that we've had them, now we're just trying to have more fun, so hopefully
it's more confident, we think, more jokes, because it's sort of the world that we had to spend a lot of time setting up the world last time, so this time it's just seeing what we can do with those characters and the town as a character itself.
Screen Tasmania is backing the program, contributing $500,000 towards the $4.5 million price tag of this season.
The wider benefit, of course, to Tasmania in terms of our tourism, in terms of our economy, what the production itself spends in Tasmania is significant.
More than 150 people are working on the production, with more than half of them Tasmanian.
Shows like this are a huge deal for the industry because we, the Tasmanian industry is very young. It's only really, there's been things, here and there, and then it's died down and then it's come back and so on. But the great thing about a TV series is it's an ongoing production.
And as for a possible season 3,
fingers crossed, we're free, so
Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Some of Tasmania's most inspiring individuals are set to share their stories with students around the state as part of a new UTAS initiative for social change. With Tasmanian Australian of the Year Rosalie Martin, Senior Australian of the Year Margaret Steedman, Young Australian of the Year Mitch McPherson and local hero Anthony Elder, the key speakers.
And explain how if they work together, put their minds to a challenge, they can make a difference and make a really positive contribution to the community.
The talks begin on August 1 around schools in Burnie, Launceston and New Norfolk. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed higher as bargain hunting investors ignored a mixed lead from US markets and lifted most stocks across the board. The ASX 200 index has risen by 38.5 points. Short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79.42 US cents and 106.7 New Zealand cents.
To soccer, and Star Olympia striker Jacob Sklenar is in doubt for the side's FFA Cup clash against Apia Leichhardt following an ankle injury he suffered during Friday night's win over Devonport. The Czech import is now racing the clock to try and be fit for the biggest match on the Tasmanian football calendar next Tuesday night. The striker hasn't had an injury in 3 years and the timing couldn't be worse.
My main focus is to be able to play against Apia game, which is, there is no fully guarantee that I will be playing.
With just 1 week into the Warriors' much hyped clash with New South Wales NPL club Apia Leichhardt, Sklenar will now sit out Friday night's game against the Zebras. And with the striker in hot form this season and leading the league in goals, the Warriors will have to decide whether having a semi-fit Sklenar on Tuesday night is better than having no Sklenar at all.
That's a good question, actually. I would definitely like to play, but, in the end, it's up to the coach decisions.
The Warriors will be hoping for the same level of fanaticism at KG5 that was seen at Valley Road last year, when the Strikers made Tasmanian football history by becoming the first team to qualify for the FFA Cup round of 16.
They're expecting to go through us, but again, if we play well and if every single player on the pitch do our best, that means that's not going to be an easy job for them, and that's our role.
Tasmanians Sarah Hoare and Georgia Nesbitt have been called up to the national rowing side for the upcoming World Championships in the US. Meanwhile, Katie Eckhart has picked up a team bronze at the Under-23 World Canoe Slalom Championships in Slovakia. Eckhart started well before finding herself in trouble on a rocky part of the course. The Aussies managed to record the fastest provisional time, but penalties drew the team back to third behind the Czech Republic and Great Britain. After a horror couple of years for the Tasmanian Tigers, the organisation is in the midst of a complete restructure. I recently sat down with the man set to lead them forward as they strive to bring some success back to the club. Adam, thanks for speaking with us. You've signed on to coach a side that's not only underperformed for a while now, but one that's been the subject of constant negative press. Why?
I've been outside our system here for 6 years working in other programs, but my passion for Tasmanian cricket never waned. And I mean, looking from the outside in and obviously preparing to play against Tasmania when I was away, I just got a sense that they were a little bit standoffish in their cricket and a little bit worried about failure at times. So from my point of view, as I said, without being around over the last few years, it's about trying to get the confidence back into the group and allowing them to play the cricket that they want to play and get that enjoyment into their game.
The word boys club gets used a lot in relation to Cricket Tasmania. Many felt the Tigers were a toxic boys club, one that allowed players and coaches to get away with poor results without consequence for far too long. What's changed?
It's finding the balance between people from outside the organisation, from outside the state, coming in with fresh and clean new ideas, but also you need people that are passionate about Tasmanian cricket, who have lived Tasmanian cricket for their lives and want to see that success as well. And it's all about not letting the little things slip. So, if you see something out of the corner of your eye that you don't feel is quite right, or someone takes that tiny shortcut, it's pulling them up on the spot and making sure that we are striving to be the best we can be all the time.
And just finally, tell us why the cricketing world should be excited about the future of Tasmanian cricket.
I think there's a lot of talent here. There is a lot of talent here, and I've been here back for 2.5 months now, and I'm really excited about the players we have. Not only the ones that people know about, but there's some really good, talented young players coming through. And I think the brand of cricket we want to play this year will see that that opportunity for them to express themselves.
Thanks for your time.
No problem at all.
And finally, disappointment for Tasmanian runner Stuart McSwain after missing out on the third and final spot in the Australian team for the 5,000 metre event at the upcoming World Championships in London. The King of King Island put himself in contention after running a personal best qualifying time at the Moreton Games in Ireland earlier this month. But McSwain was edged out by New South Wales runner Morgan McDonald, who ran just 3 seconds faster at an event in the Netherlands over the weekend. And Joe, absolutely gutted for that young runner after such an impressive run just a couple of weeks ago.
Good evening. Showers fell across much of the state this morning, Hobart recording the state's high of 16 degrees today. Launceston and Devonport both 14, Burnie 15. Maria Island, St Helens and Friendly Beaches also reached 16 degrees. It was 15 at Wynyard and Grove, 14 at Lowhead, Bushy Park and Strawn, and Lyowini had a top of 8 degrees today. To the satellite now, clouds streaming over Tasmania with a low pressure area to our southwest. An active front is approaching the southwest of the mainland. Here on the close-up, we see cumulus cloud across much of the state, more widespread in the north and west with the odd thunderstorm. Tomorrow, a front is clearing the northeast of the state with a southwest to southerly flow behind it and a ridge of high pressure to our west. Westerly winds 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 in the north, seas 2 to 3 metres. A strong wind warning is current for western, northern and eastern coastal waters from Low Rocky Point to Tasman Island, and a sheep graziers alert is current for the Midlands, East Coast, Upper Derwent Valley and Southeast districts. Showers easing in the south tomorrow with a top of 10 degrees for Hobart, 9 at Geeveston, Bothwell 8. Launceston and Devonport both expecting an early shower or two, 13, Cressy 11. Burnie a shower or two about the morning, 12 degrees, Strawn 10 and Curry 13. St Helens partly cloudy, a top of 12, 11 for Swansea, showers easing at Orford 10 degrees. Looking ahead to Thursday now, areas of morning frost and fog, showers developing about the north before increasing to rain in the evening. Friday, rain tending to showers and clearing in the evening, and Saturday, rain extending statewide in the morning. To the rest of the country now, a sunny day tomorrow for Sydney, Brisbane and Darwin. Showers expected for Perth and Canberra, a partly cloudy day for Adelaide and a shower or two for Melbourne with a top of 14. And now let's take a look at the current conditions around the state. Currently in Hobart, it's 12 degrees, mostly clear. Launceston 9 and partly cloudy. Devonport 12 degrees, partly cloudy also. It's going to be a bit of a wet one for the next few days, but that's all the weather I've got for you now. Thanks, Joe.
OK, thanks so much for that, Britt. We'll pack the brolly. Well, that's all from the news team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We will, of course, see you right throughout the evening with updates. Bye for now.